Hi, and welcome. You have this to look forward to. You might even get to see my hands tonight. Wow. Yeah, crappy graphics. Uh, Hopefully, good discussion. So that's kind of what I'm angling for here. I figure that's my jam. That's my era. People are going to be gathering here in a little bit, a few more minutes and so forth. Just wanted to welcome everybody here to the live stream. So I started a few minutes early tonight just to give people a chance to gather. I wanted to welcome everybody here. I've been calling this the State of the Hobby Address. It's not quite that serious, but it is interesting. And I like to occasionally think about what direction the hobby's taken and some of the interesting thoughts that I have about the hobby that I'd like to share with everybody here as everybody comes into the room. Uh, but again, if you just joined, this is Buckle Boy's channel. Normally I'm in the digging videos every week, but I was a little under the weather, and wife was a little under the weather this past 2 weeks ago, and so we had a little lag in our digging. So I figured I'd take the opportunity to do a live stream and try to get a couple of things out there and circulating. So once again, you have not much in the way of visuals to look forward to, but hopefully the audio will make up for that. Hey, Jimmy Jones, good to see you, my friend. So glad you're here. Workman's Adventures, welcome. Here they're all coming in now. Colonel, hey, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you. Lucky Duck, yeah, let's see some treasure. Not going to be a lot of treasure here, except this amazing hat, which is the only one. I'm not selling any merchandise. Yeah, so hey, MN Picker, great to see you. Sweet Diggs, Dirt Clod, my good friends. Shout out to Jimmy Jones, who's a channel supporter. Thank you so much. Patty, yeah, thank you as well. Dirt Clod, so glad to see you. And Amanda, hey, Brian Oliver, gosh, they're all pouring in now. Tot Lot Junkie. The best things to find in Louisiana are in tot lots. I'm telling you, all of the Civil War belt plates. Hey, Hot Mess and DB. Um, hey, PA Relic. All of the great finds in Louisiana are in those tot lots. I mean, the belt plates, everything, all of that. But if you want a cob, though, you're gonna have to go up to Digologists and talk to Digologists about getting a cob. I'm pretty sore about that. I mean, I'm happy for you. Hey, Trala Diggs, I'm happy for you, but I'm also sore because I still don't have a cob after all these years. 35 years of serious hunting and another 5 years of, childhood hunting. Um, yeah, pretty wild. At any rate, do a little bit of talking about some things here today. So I like to notice the things in the hobby and do a little bit of talking about those and share some ideas. So that's why I call this the state of the hobby address. It's not that serious, but just kind of interesting. Um, hey, Growl Louder Adventures, great name. Yeah, awesome name there. Very cool. So a couple of weeks ago, I guess about a week and a half ago, I made a post that said basically this. It was I heard a few folks that have said, "Oh, I bought a new detector and I took it to an old site and I found more stuff." But I said, "Does that ever happen to anyone with their old detector, where they take their very same detector to their old site and find more stuff?" I mean, this is funny. This is funny to me because we always hear, "Oh, I took this new detector and I found all these things that I never couldn't even hear before." Well, my experience is that I take my same detector to the same site and I find all this stuff that I didn't find before. Otherwise, nobody would ever dig, right? So I think it's funny to say that. I think it's real funny to say it's because of the new detector that, yeah, keep taking metal detector says yes. Um, so, hey, Patty, thanks so much. Yeah, I'd love to know what the VDI is too on that cob. Yeah, Jimmy Jones, every time I go back. Yeah. So otherwise nobody would dig, right? They would just stop digging, and that would be the end of metal detecting as a hobby. You go once, you find it all, and you're gone. Um, Detecting would have been over a long time ago. I think it's funny because People always say that about new machines, but my question is, why is that so? Hey, Team Lynch, good to see you, my friend. So why is that all of a sudden, we find more stuff, with our same detector? Well, we wander over different ground, right? Always wandering over different ground. Yeah, relic rat. Yeah, absolutely. They all work. You just have to swing the machine over it, and know your machine. Totally true. So my point is that every time we hunt, it's a new site in a way because something's different. It could be the coil we chose to use. Hey, Drake, Yodi, how's it going? Thanks for running I Dig Fridays, by the way, buddy. Um, it could be the settings that we chose for our machine, our same machine. It could be the sweep speed. There's an ideal sweep speed for every detector. There's an ideal sweep direction over any target, the best target response you can get. Um, there's an ideal discrimination setting to be able to pick up that target. And a lot of these things are due to, yeah, Digologist, it's absolutely part of a story that you found. Absolutely. Almost, I'm almost positive, 99%, but I didn't get a good look at it because you kind of whisk it away fast. But that's a sword handguard, a little bit of the knuckle bow there attached. And it's a killer find. It may be older than model 1840, but it kind of looks like that style of sword, the model 1840 wrist breaker. So take a look at that, match that up, and message me. At any rate, so every time we hunt, it's a new site because the settings that we use and our approach to the target and how we sweep and how fast we sweep and the direction we sweep and our settings, discrimination, reactivity, everything are all different, and our coil control is all different. So really, a lot of this is due to iron. And anybody that says that their machine can see through iron probably needs an attitude adjustment, because if you hear less iron, because the iron volume is down, you're missing targets. Period. But if you are if you are if you are in a high iron environment, there are going to be targets that you miss no matter what. And I would wager that most of the targets, a lot of the targets, you're going to miss. Things that are round, in, deep, big iron, lots of nails. No matter how good your machine is, let's face it, it's not going to see through everything. And I would wager, having dug in sites that get plowed over and over, it's shocking how much is missed. Even in that top plow zone, the iron masks a ton. And I've even had experiences where, because I find a lot of eyeball finds, I've found eyeball finds where I've swept over them and they haven't beeped. I've had a friend sweep over them with a detector that will not be named, and they don't beep on that detector either. And that's a top of the line detector. So this just goes to show you how much we actually miss. Mystic, you're exactly right. Iron masks so much. Very, very good comment. And so it's all about, like, what do we choose to dig? So my point here is that even if we are hunting a new site, hunting an old site, even if we're hunting an old site on a different day, it's a different site because we had different settings, different sweep speed. We approached it in a different direction, or we just plain swept over ground that we hadn't swept over before. And that's not the result of the machine. The other thing I would say is the weather. The weather makes a huge difference. And sometimes it makes a difference because soil moisture, but also makes a difference because sometimes we're different because, like, if it's 110-degree heat index in Louisiana, I am not in the mood to dig a lot of iffy junk and chase iron. But if it's 65 degrees and sunny, I will sit there all day in a semi-decent site and I will dig every iron signal and every piece of junk and crap. So the weather makes a huge difference on our psychology when we're out digging. So even if all of those things are absolutely identical, which it never is, my point is that we may be different as people because of those factors. We may not be tired or overheated or thirsty, or we may not be bored. We may have found something, a decent time ago, or we may have found something, 3 minutes ago that was amazing, and we may be like, oh my God, I'm swinging all over the place and, like, swinging too fast and not being thorough and not digging things because I'm so excited because of what I just found. So we might be more willing to dig something iffy, or we might be more patient. or sweeping slower, or listening more. So there's a lot of different variables here. And so I guess my point is that we're always making assumptions about what we dig and where we dig and how we dig. And we assume that it's our equipment always, or it's something that we want it to be, but it's not necessarily what we think it is. It's a combination of all of these factors that all, it's hard to separate them, unless you're going to run a science lab or something. You're not going to be able to separate, is it the soil moisture, or is it my reactivity, or is it my iron volume that I had at a different, so I'm hearing more iron. I actually heard that little sliver of a tone in there. Like, we're never going to have that because we don't dig in labs. We don't dig in labs. This is the problem with test gardens. Test gardens are never real life because we know where the coins are. We know exactly where the coin is. Sweeping over the same little place where we've got a little, plastic stake. Yeah, here's my hat. We sleeping over that little place where we got that plastic stake in the ground where we know that quarter's buried at 12 or 14 inches. That's not real life. Nobody's going to sweep over every piece of ground 30 times thinking that there's something hiding down 14 inches down. Thanks so much, Hot Mess. Yeah, I love this hat. That's my motto: is keep digging, no matter what. Keep digging. That's the only way you keep finding. So none of us wants to dig in a lab. So a test garden is never going to cut it. It's never going to be true to life. It's never going to, have the iron that's masking things from certain directions. No matter how much we try to make that situation like real life, it will never be, because it's not. And so we're always making these assumptions about what's causing us to find things or not find things, and jumping to conclusions. And sometimes that's true, and sometimes that's completely freaking false. Now, that's the thing that makes us treasure hunters, though, right? That's the huge thing that makes us treasure hunters, is we get some information and we run with it. We're like, oh, I read a diary and it said that there was such and such that happened here, and I'm going to go find that spot, and I really think it was here, and I'm convinced it was here, and I read all this stuff, and I think, oh man, that's got to be the site. And sometimes it leads us to treasure. I mean, this is what makes us treasure hunters, is that we're able to take all this information and run with it, and get really excited and passionate about it, and jump to these conclusions. But also, is what makes us completely disasters sometimes at, like, figuring out how to improve our game to find more, because it just seems like there's so much that we don't have control over, or we can't really see what change makes an effect, because there's so many different variables. And some of that is just the way life is, and it's just the way our hobby is. Because if it were the same, we wouldn't want to do it, because it would be like Christmas morning, where that there's just underwear there under the Christmas tree, and that's all you're getting this year. It wouldn't be like, whoa, I wonder what's in that, under that square of ground. What's in that next shovelful that's going to be amazing, or that's not anything I've ever seen before. So yeah, I mean, we wouldn't bother digging if that was the case. Just the same way we wouldn't bother digging if everything was a lab, or we wouldn't bother digging if we went out and found it all the first time out digging. And so I think that's kind of interesting stuff to think about, how we jump to conclusions or imagine things that sometimes are or aren't there. It's like that dialogue that goes on in our heads. It's like, well, maybe if I went over here by this tree, or maybe if I swept over that bit of ground, or maybe if I walked in this direction, I would find some stuff. And sometimes, that's a great asset, because sometimes we find some amazing things that only we would have found by jumping to those conclusions or imagining those things. But sometimes, it does lead us astray. So that's kind of interesting. On a side note, tonight, I just want to ask, did you all see that Doug pocket spill of 4 $1 gold coins and all of the seeded coins this past week? Holy crap. Holy crap. Yeah, digging times past, this hobby is full of maybes and hopes. Absolutely. And what ifs. It's that wondering, well, maybe we should have tried there, maybe we should have done this or that truly make it great. Yeah. Tot Junkie says, so true. Learn your machine, swing, dig, repeat, grit it out. Absolutely true. And the more targets you dig, the more chance you have at finding something incredible. The only way that you cannot find something is to stop digging. So another thing I was kind of found curious is that people are feeding things into AI these days. Patty D says this hobby is the best. Yeah, absolutely, Patty. Absolutely. I forget who that was. It was posted. DC is asking, who was that that found the 4 $1 gold coins? It's been on a couple different sites. I think Virginia Diggers had it last. So I think it, or maybe had it first. I think it was somebody in Virginia that found that. But people are feeding things into AI and kind of blindly trusting whatever it spits out. And now some detector groups have AI bots that are trying to answer questions as well as summarize posts. And my thought on this is, well, maybe I actually want to read the replies on a post. Maybe I want to read those. DC, I don't remember. I don't remember who found them. I know they're on the Virginia group. So rather than have an AI bot post that out to me, like tell me what to summarize the post, maybe I want to know who posted what. Maybe I don't want everything congealed into just a glom of an answer, a blob of an answer. Maybe I want to know because it makes a difference whether it's somebody knowledgeable that posts, somebody like Stephen Hurt, Larry Hochman, William Lay, John Kraljevic, Eric Wagner. One of those people, if one of them posted it, that makes a huge difference. Or it could be some idiot that I've never heard of that's replying as a joke, to ID something or to share information. So, I think that this AI, we have to be careful about it and how it's going to affect our hobby. I'm also sure that you could ask AI what the world's best metal detector is. And AI will probably give you an answer. But I will answer that question here for everybody tonight. In my opinion, the world's best detector is the one you take to a spot that you got permission for. The world's best detector is the one that you take to a spot because you research that spot and you have a strong hunch that there's something there to find. The world's best detector is the one that you know the best. It's the one that you understand all of the possible settings rather than just hunting in 2 modes or 1 mode all the time. I think that the best detector is the one that you sweep with the proper sweep speed and the proper coil control. And it's the one that you choose, that you use when you're choosing to dig more targets rather than being super picky and leaving great stuff in the ground and walking away. So, yeah. And then I wanted to give you all here as we wrap things up. Thanks for sharing the link to the next find. I'm going to be out of here in 30 seconds. My Relic ID book is in the final laps. I expect it to be out late summer or early fall. The title is Relics, A Guide to Identification, and it covers the vast majority of what anybody would ever dig between about 1700 and 1945. I'm really happy to get this finished up. I started writing in 2021, so it's been 4 years of time and energy, and it's a visually stunning book. Thanks to Butch Holcomb at American Digger. He is a really gifted layout and design artist, and I mean that with a capital A, an artist. And his editorial team is first rate. So I'm super pleased about this. Catch you all on the next. I'll follow you to the next video and keep digging. Thanks so much. Have a good Friday. Bye-bye.